Welcome back to the channel, everyone.
That was
If
truly
you're new here,
remarkable, but
hit
let's see if you
subscribe
can push
because
it
today
even
we're
further
diving
next
into
time.
one of the most emotional, unforgettable, and deeply human moments ever captured on Britain's Got Talent. This is the story of a man who carried a dream in his heart for 25 years. A dream he never let die, even when life kept pushing him away from it. A dream he finally stepped on stage to fulfill after waiting longer than some contestants have been alive. This is the moment he waited 25 years for, and the moment the world realized why he never gave up. The lights inside the London Palladium were bright, the kind of bright that makes even confident performers swallow hard. The audience murmured, waiting. The judges shuffled in their seats. And then, slowly, a man walked onto the stage. Not rushing, not posing, not performing yet, just walking with the quiet weight of someone who had lived a lot of life before this one moment. He paused at center stage, his shoes planted exactly where thousands of dreamers had stood before him, and thousands more would stand after. But right now, this moment was his alone. Simon leaned forward, curious. Amanda smiled gently, sensing something behind his eyes. Alesha and Bruno waited, expecting maybe another typical audition. They didn't know yet that this man's story was different, that he was standing there not because he wanted fame, not because he wanted attention, but because he had made himself a promise 25 years ago, and today was the day he finally gathered the courage to keep it. The audience noticed he seemed slightly older than many contestants, but there was a spark in him that didn't belong to age. It belonged to passion, to longing, to commitment, and maybe even to heartbreak. Simon asked him his name, and he introduced himself, voice steady but soft. When Simon asked why he was here today, he took a breath 25 years in the making, and said that he had always dreamed of performing on a stage like this. But life, responsibilities, family, work, everything kept pushing him farther and farther away from that dream. He said he had watched the show since the beginning, year after year, telling himself he would audition, next time. And every year, next time never came. But this year, something changed. Maybe it was time. Maybe it was fear of regret. Maybe it was that feeling that life is too short to keep postponing your own happiness. Whatever it was, it brought him here tonight. The audience felt it. Those words landed gently across the room, like a reminder that dreams don't have deadlines, but courage sometimes does. Simon nodded. Even he looked moved. It wasn't dramatic, but something quiet flickered in his eyes. Because even someone like Simon, who has seen thousands of auditions, knows when a story is real. The man explained that he had waited 25 years for this moment. 25 years rehearsing in private. 25 years singing to empty rooms. 25 years wondering if he still had it. 25 years of fear. 25 years of hope. He said that sometimes he thought the world had moved on, that maybe there was no place left for him. But still, that voice inside whispered, "Try. Just try." The audience applauded softly, almost respectfully. It wasn't excitement, it was empathy. Simon looked at him and said, "Well, tonight is your night. Show us what you've waited 25 years to show the world." And then the stage went silent. The orchestra prepared. The man closed his eyes. He inhaled slowly, almost reverently, like he was breathing in the memory of every year he waited, every moment he doubted, every second he believed. The first notes of the track began to play. A beautiful, emotional melody filled the theater. The kind of melody that makes the heart tremble, even before the singer begins. And then he started. His voice didn't explode into the room. It didn't try to shock. It didn't demand attention. Instead, it flowed out gently, warm, rich, full of stories he never spoke aloud. You could hear the 25 years in every note. You could hear the missed chances, the lost time, the regret, but also the strength, the patience, the devotion to a dream that refused to die. People in the audience leaned forward. It was the kind of voice that wraps around you slowly, like a memory. The kind of voice that makes you feel something before you even understand what you're feeling. Amanda's lips parted slightly in surprise. Alesha put her hand over her heart. Bruno nodded with that dancer's instinct, the instinct that recognizes emotion in movement, in voice, in breath. Simon didn't move. He listened with complete stillness, eyes focused. That is when you know a voice has something special, when it makes Simon stop everything else and simply absorb. Halfway through the song, something shifted. His voice grew stronger, bolder, more open. It was like watching a flower bloom in real time. Or watching a man finally step into the version of himself that he had always wanted to be. Every phrase rose higher, carrying decades of passion with it. People in the audience started tearing up. Not because the song was sad, but because the moment was real. Because here was a man proving that it is never too late to chase something you love. Because here was someone showing that dreams don't age, they evolve. By the final note, the room was silent. Completely silent. No whisper. No cough. No shifting seats. Just silence, the kind that comes right before something unforgettable happens. And then the note faded. He lowered the microphone. His hands trembled. His eyes shone with held-back emotion. He didn't know yet what the judges would say. He didn't know if he'd just changed his life or simply closed an old chapter. But he knew he had finally done it. The dream he carried for more than 2 decades had just unfolded in front of thousands of people, and millions who would later watch from home. And then, the audience stood. A full standing ovation. Not fast. Not chaotic. But slow, powerful, unanimous. People stood because they felt something deeper than talent. They stood because his courage deserved it. They stood because his story reminded them of their own forgotten dreams. Simon looked at him with a softness that almost never appears. A rare kind of respect. A kind of understanding that passes between two people who know what it means to fight for something that matters.